I raised him, fed him, worked double shifts just so he could go to college. And last week, he handed a brand new BMW with a red bow to his mother-in-law, while handing me a $3 piggy bank like I was a charity case. So I smiled. I said nothing. But what he didn't know was that I'd already uncovered everything. The fake promotion, the power of attorney, the investment scheme his new mother was running right under my nose. They thought I was weak because I'm old? Oh, sweetheart, I didn't block them to be petty. I blocked them to prepare. And what came next? Let's just say, that BMW was the beginning of her downfall. Subscribe if you believe karma always finds its way back. Before we dive in, if you've ever felt overlooked or betrayed by someone you loved, drop a comment and subscribe, because this story might just be yours too. I raised my son Marcus with my bare hands. After my husband Tom died unexpectedly in his 40s, it was just me and a 4-year-old with sad eyes and a stuffed elephant. I worked nights as a nurse, flipping shifts, eating instant noodles so Marcus could have shoes that actually fit. And now he was handing a brand new BMW to his mother-in-law and handing me a $3 piggy bank. Literally. Let me back up. It was Marcus's 10th wedding anniversary, and they were throwing a small celebration at their newly renovated house. When I showed up, I knew something was off. There were flower arrangements like a wedding, crystal champagne glasses, and in the driveway, under a big velvet red bow, a car that easily cost more than I made in 2 years. Ashley's mom deserved it, Marcus said proudly as he clinked a glass of wine. She helped raise Ashley when things were hard. She's been such a blessing. His wife Ashley beamed, and Linda, Ashley's mother, posed in front of the car like she was auditioning for a luxury ad. No mention of me, the woman who sold her wedding ring to cover their first down payment. I bit my tongue. Then, during cake, Marcus came up with a goofy grin and handed me a tiny box. For you, Mom. Inside was a pink piggy bank and $3 bills inside. Literal cash. 3 wrinkled ones. Thought it was cute, he said. You always said you loved saving coins. I just stared at him, at Ashley, sipping champagne, at Linda, who now had keys to a brand new BMW. I smiled, kissed him on the cheek. Then I left, and I blocked him. He didn't know it yet, but I was done playing the helpless old woman. For the first few weeks, silence filled my home like fog. No calls, no texts. And honestly, that hurt more than the gift. The fact that after blocking them, neither of them even tried to knock on my door. Not Marcus, not Ashley, not even the kids. But that's when I started noticing the patterns. One day, a bank letter meant for Marcus accidentally got mailed to my address. They'd refinanced their house. Again. I called the bank pretending to be him, don't judge me, and they confirmed a massive second mortgage had been taken out just weeks before the BMW surprise. That car? It wasn't a gift. It was a gamble, and someone was lying. Then came the second clue. Linda showed up at my front door, smiling. Dorothy, she said sweetly, it's such a shame you've distanced yourself. Marcus is heartbroken. I stared at her. He's so heartbroken he's not here. She brushed past me like she owned the place, straight into my living room. Let's talk about the future. You're not getting any younger, and honestly, your finances are looking fragile. What? I blinked. She smiled wider. Marcus said you might be interested in a senior investment portfolio. My firm works with elderly clients, people like you, who want to preserve wealth and not, become a burden. A burden. That word sat in my throat like glass. I played dumb. Oh? And what would that involve? Well, she said, pulling out glossy brochures, you'd sign over some financial control. Just temporarily, power of attorney. We'd protect your assets in case of memory issues. Happens all the time. There it was. The real gift behind the red bow. A con job. A setup. And I was the final mark. I nodded, pretending to be confused. I might be interested. I just need a little time. Linda's eyes sparkled. Of course, no pressure. I'll have the papers sent over. She left humming, thinking she'd won. That's when I got serious. I pulled out every file I had, Tom's old investment binders, our insurance documents, every deed and will. And then I called my old coworker from the hospital who now worked in fraud investigations. Within days, we found something chilling. The power of attorney documents, already forged and filed. They'd used an old signature from a check I wrote last year. Linda hadn't been asking for permission. She was covering her tracks. I sat in my kitchen for hours, staring at the walls. My own son had let this woman, this manipulator, into our lives so deeply that she had already tried to steal everything my husband and I built. It wasn't just betrayal, it was war. You don't hand your mother a $3 piggy bank while giving a scammer a BMW, not unless you've forgotten who built your foundation. I made a plan. The next day, I unblocked Marcus, sent him a single text. Meet me, alone. He showed up at the diner where I used to take him as a boy for pancakes. He looked older, tired. Mom, he began, but I cut him off. I know about the second mortgage. I know about the power of attorney. I know Linda's not who she says she is. He paled. I also know, I said softly, that you let a woman trick you into betraying your own mother. He looked down. I leaned across the table. Marcus, if you don't come clean, if you don't help me fix this, I will bury both of you in court filings so deep you'll need scuba gear to breathe. He stared at me like he'd never seen me before. This isn't about money anymore, I said. This is about dignity, and I'm not dying with mine stolen. If you think I did the right thing by blocking my own son and standing up for myself, go comment, "We stand with Dorothy." And don't forget to subscribe for part 2, because the trap was just getting started. Before we begin, if you've ever felt used by the very people you raised, drop a comment and subscribe right now. This part gets ugly, and very, very real. After that diner confrontation, Marcus didn't say a word for nearly 30 seconds. Then he muttered, "Mom, you don't understand. It's complicated." "No," I snapped. "It's criminal." I pulled out a manila envelope and slid it across the table. Inside were the photocopies of the forged power of attorney papers, signed in my name. Except the signature was traced, shaky, misaligned. They'd copied it from a Christmas check I'd sent Emma last year. His face went pale. I could take this to the police right now, but I'm giving you one last chance to tell me the whole truth. Why did you do it, Marcus? He stared at the envelope, then finally whispered, "Linda said it would protect you." I scoffed. "From what?" She said you were getting forgetful, that it might be Alzheimer's like Grandma. She said if something happened to you, Ashley and I would be locked out of decisions. I blinked. "So instead of asking me if I was okay, you just let your con artist mother-in-law steal my name and try to take my house." He looked ashamed. "I didn't think it would go this far." "You handed her control of my life, Marcus. She has access to my bank, my medical info, my legal rights. Do you even know what that means?" "I thought she knew what she was doing," he said weakly. He wasn't just manipulated. He let himself be used, and in doing so, betrayed his own mother. That night, I didn't sleep. Instead, I met with Claire, the fraud investigator from the hospital. Together, we traced the paper trail. Turns out, Linda had done this before. 2 other elderly clients had quietly signed consulting agreements with her investment firm. Both lost nearly everything. One filed charges. The case was still pending. With that evidence in hand, I took the next step. I froze all my accounts, filed a formal fraud complaint with my bank, and revoked all powers of attorney, real or forged. Then, I called my lawyer. "Jeff, how fast can we sue?" I asked. He didn't even hesitate. "Give me 48 hours. By Friday, Linda received a formal notice of legal action for fraud, attempted financial elder abuse, identity theft, and conspiracy to defraud. And Marcus? I sent him the court summons in a padded envelope. Inside, I included a post-it note. "Still think it's just a piggy bank?" 3 days later, I got a knock on my door. Not from Marcus, from Ashley. She stood there, holding Emma's hand, red-eyed and shaking. "Dorothy, can we talk?" I let her in. Emma ran to the kitchen like she still lived here, pulling a juice box from the fridge. She didn't know. God, I hoped she never would. Ashley sat down, wringing her hands. I didn't know about the forged papers. I swear to you, I knew Linda was pushing Marcus about your finances, but I thought it was just planning. I never signed anything. I nodded, calm. But you accepted the BMW. Her cheeks flushed. She said it was a gift, from her. A gift? From a second mortgage she tricked your husband into signing? On a house I co-signed? Ashley broke. I'm so sorry, she whispered. We were drowning. The business failed. The house repairs. Emma's school. We thought if we just held on a bit longer things would work out. So you thought stealing from a 67-year-old woman was your fallback plan? Tears spilled over. I didn't think it would go this far. They always say that. Ashley reached into her purse and pulled out a folded paper. I want to testify against Linda, if it helps. I looked at the document. It was a text exchange between Ashley and Linda. The smoking gun. Linda. She won't notice. Just make sure Marcus doesn't crack. Ashley. I'm worried. She's not as senile as you think. Linda. Then we'll push harder. No POA, no BMW. I nodded slowly. Thank you, I said. This will help. The wheels of justice were now turning, and no velvet bow was going to stop them. That weekend, I got a letter in the mail, certified, from Linda's lawyer. They were threatening me with a harassment and defamation lawsuit if I didn't drop the fraud charges. So I did what any betrayed woman would do. I walked into the police station and filed my own criminal complaint. With Claire's documentation, Ashley's texts, and the forged documents, we now had enough to open a full investigation. Marcus called the next day. Mom, you can't do this. Linda will take us all down with her. Emma will suffer. Please, just let it go. I responded with a single sentence. Then testify. Silence. I can't. You already did, I said. That forged signature? It came from your drawer. You're already involved. He started crying. Then help me end it, I said. For Emma. That's when I knew this story wasn't just about revenge. It was about saving my granddaughter from a cycle of greed. By the end of that week, my lawyer filed a restraining order against Linda and froze any accounts she touched. My son's business was under audit, and a formal criminal case was being built, inch by inch. Still, I wasn't done. I hired a private investigator. If Linda had done this before, I wanted every paper, every victim, every trace. The woman who smiled over a BMW while gutting my financial future wasn't just a threat to me, she was a predator. And predators don't stop until someone stops them. I was that someone. If you've ever felt like family took advantage of your kindness, drop a comment saying, not anymore. Before we begin, if you believe justice should never come with a price tag, hit that subscribe button and share this story with someone who needs to hear it. Let's finish what we started. By the following Tuesday, things were moving fast. The investigator I hired, Eddie, a bulldog of a man in a wrinkled tan jacket, called me. Dorothy, I've found something. Actually, I've found 5 somethings. He explained that Linda had established a pattern. Every few years, she'd attach herself to a wealthy senior or manipulate someone close to one. She'd offer consulting services, then orchestrate fake financial emergencies to siphon their funds. It was an art. She never left a direct trail, but with Ashley's text messages and the forged power of attorney forms, she'd gotten too bold. We've got enough for a fraud indictment, Eddie said. And we found a hidden bank account, offshore. How much? I asked. $1.4 million. The routing connects to 2 former clients she claimed had passed away. Only one of them actually did. I felt my stomach twist. She's a monster, I muttered. And now, we can put her behind bars. That Thursday, I did something bold. I showed up at Marcus's office unannounced. Ashley had warned me he was spiraling. Panic attacks, missed work, refusing to eat. Good. Let the guilt rot him from the inside. His secretary tried to block me at the door. Tell him it's his mother, I said calmly, and tell him I have something that might save his marriage. A moment later, I was escorted in. He looked like he hadn't slept in days. What now? he muttered. I slid a single sheet of paper across the desk. This is a signed affidavit, Ashley's, backing up the fraud charges. She's fully cooperating. Marcus stared at it, eyes red. If you want to salvage your life, I said, testify against Linda. Give the DA everything, the offshore account, the BMW financing records, the texts. He didn't look up. I'll lose everything, he whispered. No, I corrected him. You already lost everything. I'm giving you a chance to earn some of it back. I stood. You wanted to protect Emma? Then be the man she can still look up to. The next morning, Linda Morrison was arrested at her private salon, wearing a white silk robe and pink curlers. The video went viral. Somebody filmed her screaming as the officers cuffed her outside La Belle Luxe, the overpriced spa she frequented. The caption? BMW Granny Scammer Busted. It had 2.3 million views in 24 hours. Suddenly, my story was everywhere. I gave no interviews, no statements, just silence. But Marcus, he finally did something right. He walked into the courthouse that Monday, hand-delivered a full written confession, and named Linda as the architect behind the fraud. He even returned the $85,000 from the BMW fund, quietly sold the car, gave the money back to my frozen account. But I didn't touch it. That wasn't justice. That was hush money. Then came the hearing, the one where I finally spoke my truth, on record. The courtroom was small, intimate, almost too quiet. Linda sat across from me in her beige suit and cheap pearls. No makeup, no smile, just cold eyes and a jaw that never unclenched. I stood when the judge asked for a statement. My name is Dorothy Sullivan, I said. I raised my son with everything I had. Love, sacrifice, savings. And in the end, I was rewarded with betrayal. Linda didn't blink. I gave them $3 on Christmas, I continued, voice steady. Not because I was poor, but because I wanted to see what I meant to them. And what I got back was a forged signature and a red bow on a BMW. The courtroom held its breath. I'm not asking for pity, I said. I'm demanding consequences. For every elderly person you've tricked. For every family you've broken. For every dollar you stole while smiling. Then I turned to her, looked her dead in the eye. You picked the wrong grandma. The judge agreed. Linda Morrison was remanded into custody pending trial. Charges: fraud, elder abuse, identity theft, conspiracy, embezzlement, bail denied. She screamed the whole way out of the courtroom. And Marcus? He got community service, restitution payments, and mandatory therapy. He asked to speak to me that night. We met at a quiet park bench, where it all began. He sat beside me, shoulders slumped. I deserve worse, he said. I know that. I didn't respond. I've been reading about elder abuse, financial trauma, about people who trust too easily and lose everything. Now I turned to look at him. And? I'm sorry, he said. Not just for what I let Linda do, but for letting her twist how I saw you. I thought I was protecting you, but I was just protecting my own comfort. He pulled out a small box. Inside, the original diamond pendant I gave him to hold for Emma one day. I thought it was lost. I never sold it, he said. I couldn't. Even when the debts piled up. Tears came, despite myself. Emma still asks about you every day, he said. She should, I replied. I didn't go anywhere. She did. We sat in silence for a while, watching the sun dip behind the trees. I don't expect forgiveness, he said finally. Good, I replied. Because it's not a gift. It's something you earn. If you've ever been underestimated, manipulated, or taken for granted, drop a comment that says, "Never again." Before we begin, if you believe no one should be ashamed to demand dignity, hit that subscribe button and comment. Respect has no price tag. Let's close this chapter with strength. The news died down after 3 weeks. Linda's trial was scheduled for the fall. She'd been denied bond a second time after investigators discovered a second offshore account, this one in the Cayman Islands, with deposits stretching back over a decade. She was facing up to 22 years if convicted. Marcus, he kept his word. Community service every Saturday, therapy twice a week, and payments toward restitution. Slowly, bit by bit. He was rebuilding something with Ashley, too. She hadn't left him, though she'd come very close. But I wasn't focused on any of that. I had something bigger in mind. 3 months later, I launched the Emma Sullivan Foundation, a nonprofit dedicated to helping seniors recognize and protect themselves from financial exploitation. Free workshops, legal advocacy, online education for caregivers and families. We launched with a $300,000 fund, some from my own savings, and some from donations that poured in after my story hit national news. Emma helped me cut the ribbon at the launch party. She wore a sparkly purple dress and clutched my hand like she used to when she was 5. "Grandma, do you think people will really listen?" I looked around the room at the reporters, attorneys, social workers, and survivors. "I think they already are," I said. And I wasn't done yet. See Eddie, the investigator? He dug up more than just Linda's crimes. He found 4 other seniors who'd been manipulated by friends, advisors, even their own family. People too scared or ashamed to come forward. One woman, 83, had been forced to sign over her property while recovering from hip surgery. Another man had been told by his grandson that nursing homes charge by the mile and had handed over his entire pension out of fear. So we started telling those stories. Quietly, carefully, with their permission. We launched a podcast called $3 in the Truth. In 6 months, we hit 2 million downloads. But that wasn't the best part. One evening, as I watered my balcony plants, Emma came out with her school laptop. "Grandma," she said, "we had to write about our hero for English class. Can I read mine to you?" I set down the watering can. "Of course, baby." She cleared her throat. "My hero is my grandma. She's brave, even when people lie. She's smart, even when people call her old. And she's strong, even when her heart gets broken. She taught me that forgiveness is not pretending someone didn't hurt you. It's being strong enough to move on without letting it make you bitter. And she once only got $3 for Christmas, but now she runs a whole foundation. So who's laughing now?" She looked up. "Is that okay?" I didn't say anything for a while, just hugged her. "Sweetheart," I whispered. "That was better than a red bow on any car." Marcus came by the next week, alone. He waited in the lobby of my apartment building for 45 minutes before I buzzed him in. He looked tired, thinner, but also clearer, like a man who'd finally stopped lying to himself. "I brought something," he said. It was a box. Inside, my old journals, photo albums, my mother's ring I thought I'd lost. A folder with notarized documents returning all financial power of attorney to me. And a check. $9,000, he said. "My restitution payments. I know it's not much." I held up a hand. "You didn't come for thanks, did you?" "No," he said. "I came to say I'm proud of you." I nodded. "Then we're good." We sat for a while on the balcony, watching the sunset. "Do you think Linda will get time?" "I don't think," I said. "I know." He laughed quietly. "You're scary when you're right." "I'm always right," I smiled. "You just didn't want to admit it before." 6 months later, Linda Morrison was sentenced to 16 years, no parole for the first 10. The courtroom applauded. She didn't even look at me. That was fine. She didn't matter anymore. I left the courthouse, got into my car, and drove to Emma's school. It was her birthday. We had a cake waiting, purple balloons, sparkling lemonade, and a new bicycle with streamers on the handlebars. Marcus was coming too. He was bringing her favorite, peanut butter cupcakes. He'd asked me if I could bring the red bow. I almost said no. But then I thought about Emma, about healing, and about reclaiming the symbols people try to weaponize, so I tied that red ribbon to the bike handles myself. She deserved joy, and I deserved peace. Thanks for listening. If you ever gave everything and got $3 back, you are not alone. Drop a comment that says, "My worth isn't measured by your gifts." And don't forget to subscribe for more powerful stories just like this. Your voice matters.